This is Irwin Keys, and you are listening to WithoutYourHead.com, baby.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I am Nasty Neil.
This is Annabelle Lecter.
That would make me Terrible Troy.
Yes, and joining us here at the start of the show, he's a very big man, Robert Mukes.
Hey guys, flattered to be a part of your show. Neil, thanks for inviting me, Troy. And how are you, young lady?
I'm very well. It's really nice to have you on.
I'm very flattered to be here. Good evening. Let's have fun.
Yeah, it'll be good times. Now, we were talking off here about conventions, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that because it's an interesting topic. And that's where I met you originally, was at a convention, Days of the Dead. And I understand that you didn't want to necessarily get involved in the conventions at first. What made you decide to do them?
That's a good question. Let's see. Do you want the short version or the long version?
No, I'd go for the long version. They can handle it.
Okay, the long version. I've got a buddy named Jim Van Beber. He had his biggest film was Charlie's Family, and Jim and I were beer buddies. We were drinking buddies, and he had there was a Fangoria convention in L.A. in Pasadena about 10 years ago, and Jim and I went to that. And Jim had a Q&A for that film, and then we toured around or whatever and checked out the convention. And I saw Bill and I didn't see Sid there, but Karen was there, and I think that's all that I can recall from the Corpses. I talked to Bill for a couple of moments. Bill and I had scenes together in Thousand Corpses, as well as Karen Black. And so I chatted with those guys for like 5 minutes each, and then when I was standing next to Karen, I signed about 3 or 4 autographs. And Karen was like, "You should probably get a table." I'm like, "This really isn't my style, being there and charging for autographs." And my buddy Jim disagreed. We left and spoke more about it. He's like, "Dude, you should do it." I'm like, "Man, I play basketball. I feel awkward asking people for money for a signature. I'm just flattered that people want my autograph, man. It's great." He's like, "Well, you should do it." I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to sit around there all day for free." So, it really wasn't for me. And it just kept me on my next project. And so years passed by, and I got invited to the 10-year anniversary of House of a Thousand Corpses a couple years ago. So as I mature, as time has passed, I'm 50 years old now, but a couple years ago I was 48, and I've always done weekend doorman work to supplement my income with the acting, not being super consistent, but I've always been in a professional posture, having insurance, etc. So I did really well at being a doorman, and that was another reason why I didn't want to do the convention scene. But when the recession hit, like in 2008, the doorman profession became less glamorous with less tips and et cetera, less people going out at night. So I'm driving to work and I called Jim. I'm like, "Jim, what's going on, brother?" Small talk. And then I said, "I'm thinking about doing this whole autograph thing, man. They're having a 10-year anniversary." And Jim he's a very outspoken guy, and he can be belligerent sometimes. And so he called me a couple of choice words, and I complimented me. He's like, "Dude, you should have been doing the long." And I'm like, "Well, bro, I feel like I'm begging for money." He's like, "Man, the fans want your autograph.
Mm-hmm.
They come to the convention willing and ready to pay money for your autograph. You've been doing a disservice to the industry by not being a part of the Thousand Corpses run. You should definitely do it." I'm like, as I'm driving to work, yawning, and I typically, when I hit about 42 or so, I found myself going to Starbucks before my shift and drinking coffee to stay awake for that job. I'm like, to Starbucks, I'm thinking, you might have a point. And so, it's like 10-year anniversary, and it was amazing. I had such a great time. I played basketball until I was 30. I did 5 years in Europe, in high school and college, of course. I'm from Indiana. So I in Indiana basketball back then, and still today, it's small town basketball, although I was in the inner city. But Indiana basketball, the Midwest, where there's harsh winters, people love basketball, so there's a lot of fans at a young age, and so the horror convention kind of reignited that sensation in my spirit and my soul that, people are kind of cheering for me for what I've done. And so I just love it, man. I've grown. I've gotten a lot more popular with that business, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
That's awesome. That's absolutely great.
That's the long version, but there's a lot more details between starting off 3 years ago and where I am today. But I just really love the horror genre. The fans of it, they watch it multiple times. It's such a good industry.
Mm-hmm.
So something else we were talking about before the show is kind of the politics of how people feel, how the audience feels, how your fans feel, and about the autograph process and the pricing and all this stuff. And I know, I was saying that there's been a few times where I've stepped into conversations because people will complain about prices, and I mean even reasonable prices. And it's like I feel like people don't always get it. So
I think sometimes celebrities, and I use that term loosely. I don't really consider myself a celebrity. If I in the general public, if I have to tell you what I do, then I don't feel like I'm a celebrity. And so with that said, people that are in a situation to sign autographs, and they're a part of something special that fans dig, whether it be DC, Comic-Cons where you have the action heroes for the Marvel movies and DC movies, etc., or the horror cons, and I think that's basically it. I don't think there's any, sitcoms or conventions or etc. But you got the Star Trek thing going. But people that are fresh into it, I think they just want to make a quick buck and a killing at it, and I think maybe they price themselves out of the category. I heard there was a young lady that did a couple of episodes, or maybe a whole season of The Walking Dead, which I just got into. I love that show. I just got introduced to that show. It's phenomenal. I've never had cable, and I'm not much for watching television, but a really close friend of mine digs the show, and so I've gotten kind of twisted into it. And it's a great show. But anyway, there was a young lady that did an episode, and she was charging like $75. I saw on the internet a few months ago. And I'm like, geez, and that's not a classic yet. And you only
she was getting destroyed on the internet.
She was even charging.
You saw people were just trashing that poor person.
She was even charging just to meet her.
Yeah, I forgot her name. I don't want to talk bad about anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some guys that charge a couple $100. The guy from the Sons of Anarchy, and he did the Hellboy, Ron Perlman.
Oh,
I think I think he's way up there. But it's supply and demand too, and he doesn't come out very often or whatever. And people say he's a total rock star, so that it is what it is. That Ron, the star of The Walking Dead, what's his name? The biker guy. God, I'm totally disrespecting.
Oh yeah.
Come on, you guys
I know you're talking about. He was Henry.
The greasy guy.
Killer.
Norman Reedus.
Oh, Norman. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. That guy. Okay. Yeah, he's huge.
He has to be. He has the hugest line. He was that horror hound 2 years ago when I did that show, and I was just blown away by. They had security for his line. He had an assistant, I think a couple of assistants, and he was just rocking it out. Mm-hmm. So, if it was $20, maybe there would be just too many people in the line. Yeah. So, in defense of the celebrity that just has so many people wanting it, then you kind of have to filter the crowd like that in a sense. And I hate to discriminate against someone that can't afford to pay more than just getting it for free, but I guess that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I know, Sid Haig has always just charged, $10 to sign your stuff, $20 to sign his stuff, and always did free autographs, and he does great at all the conventions.
Nice. Who's that, Sid?
Yeah.
Yes, Sid's cool. I'm right there with Sid prices. I don't charge for photos, and I'm very flattered to take pictures, and I think that's kind of like the going rate, the standard rate of if you have a little bit of popularity.
But he's very savvy too, and he doesn't have any kind of manager handler doing anything. Like you.
He's such a rock star fan. When we, I forgot what show. I think we were in Phoenix, sitting next to each other at Mad Monster. And when we got finished, I'm like, "Hey, bro, you want some help?" We did a panel together. I think Bill had to leave for a movie Saturday afternoon, so he got a quick call. So it was just Bill and I, and we did the panel together, and we vibed and everything. And after the show, he started to pack up, and he's got like 2 tables. He's got like so many pictures. But mostly people walk away with 1,000 corpses. Anyway, I'm like, "Fred, you want some help, brother?" "No, I got it." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, I don't want to, I don't want to offend you and that, imply that you need my help." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I'm out of here. And he just rock stars it out himself. He's such a stud.
Yeah, we were in where the hell were we? Kalamazoo. It's the same exact situation. It's like the end of the day. It's the end of the weekend. He's packing everything up. And me and Neil and another woman, we walked over and the same thing. And he's, nope. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I'm a little flamboyant. I've seen some other celebrities do it differently, and I kind of like that style a little bit. Give a little bit of a percentage and have somebody handle that, and just the feeling is good. As when you book something, it's so nice to be on the set and have people take care of stuff for you. I like that rock star feeling. But I'm not condescending at all with that vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
But I totally dig the old, the old school work and do your hard work yourself and everything that Sid has going.
He's been in it forever.
I know, right?
It's amazing.
Yep. I didn't realize it was so popular, and it's growing with popularity. So I'm really happy to be a part of this genre and this business, and hopefully I can add something to the table. I really enjoy the crowd support.
Now, you obviously knew House of a Thousand Corpses was like a big horror movie, but did you realize like how many people liked it and how big it was until you started doing the conventions?
When we were shooting it, I mean, almost everything you shoot, it's kind of hard to say. Every time you shoot something, you hope for the best. And then you have people like, yeah, this is going to be killer. This is going to be great. This is going to do fantastic. And then it never comes out. That's happened to me a few times, or it doesn't do so well. It's all about the editing, etc., scoring and camera angles and shots, and the director, which pitch shots, angles does he pick, and everything. But there was a couple guys on the set of House of a Thousand Corpses that were totally amped. They're like, "Oh my God, this is going to be a cool classic. This is going to be phenomenal, Robert. You're going to be a star after this." I'm like, "Whoa, yeah, cool. It looks pretty creepy to me too." Yeah, so I had no idea, and I think as time has passed, it's became more popular. But the whole convention thing is kind of. I hope it's not a trend. It's growing in popularity. Like the Comic-Cons get more popular, and the big horror conventions get more popular, and the zombie thing and everything is getting more popular. Is getting more and more popular. The Walking Dead.
Like Dragon Con in Georgia, the Dragon Con is insane. That's like I've heard it's like a city when that happens. It's like just events, thousands of people.
There's 150,000 people that go to San Diego for the Comic-Con, and I heard that New York is the same way. Exactly, New York is the same way. I was on hold, but it didn't happen this year. Hopefully next year. I think the biggest fan support is in Orlando at Spooky Empire. I think there was 40,000 horror, no comic book stuff, horror fans there. That's awesome, man. I can't imagine that many horror fans being at a convention. So I'm just totally excited about this. Hopefully soon I will be adding stuff to it and just become more and more popular at this stuff.
Were you into horror movies before you got into horror movies, before you were actually in a movie?
Say it one more time, brother.
Were you like a fan of horror movies before you were an actor?
Good question. Let's see.
Because a lot of people aren't. There's a lot of people that come on the show and they have still no interest in horror movies. It was just
I love horror movies. I like all movies. I like romantic comedies. I like suspense. When I was younger, I used to love the like Spider-Man movies and Batman and all that stuff. But the last 10 years, I've got a 10-year-old daughter. I've been doing the whole, we went to go see Minions last week, Cinderella and all that stuff. So I've been kind of out of the loop with the action movies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But horror, no, as a kid, I snuck in, we didn't have totally parent control over us. So we used to sneak into the movies and everything, my cousin and I. And so I saw, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre when it came out, when I was 10 years old. I thought it was a documentary, you know, and because of how the movie starts off, they're like in 1972, such and such and such. I'm like, whoa, oh my God, you know? And then after the movie, I'm like, I'm never going to Texas, man, never. So, and the Halloween movies, just the scoring on that, man, and the acting was so awesome, the suspense. I love those movies from my early teens. They were fantastic.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, you know, editing and score and everything. So when you saw House of a Thousand Corpses for the first time, and it has all the music and all the crazy cuts and stuff in it, what were your initial thoughts?
That's a good question, man. And I'm a little intimidated to say this, or embarrassed to say this, but I didn't get it. I went to the movie. I went to the movie, and when you shoot it, you don't get the whole, the channel turning and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought there was something the matter with the film when it makes that in between channels from the old school TV when you turn the channel and there's something that's so I'm like, what the fuck? And then finally we get to the scene where the guys are robbing the liquor store, and I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. And then we start doing more of that, the inserts of baby licking the skull and dancing around and everything, and I'm like, what the heck? and so I didn't get it. I was expecting a straight through story, like I guess the sequel, Devil's Rejects, or like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just a story being told. Not the. I kind of compare it to a Clockwork Orange. So I was single at the time, and I took a couple of dates, and they were just totally loving it, and it was just the best times. And then Rob Zombie had a interview with People magazine where he said it's an effed up movie for effed up people. So my buddy Jim and I, my beer drinking buddy, and sometimes whiskey buddy Jim Van Bever, and we went and did that. We went and had a couple beers and cocktails, and then I stumbled into the movies with him to see corpses, and I was cheering. I totally got it at that point. It was phenomenal. I loved it, and that's a true story. So I saw it like 4 times before I got it. It was too complex. It was too much. It was all over the place. But then once I got a little buzz going, I was totally digging it. So I've seen it like 40 times since, and not just because of the horror convention thing. I mean, and I'm in it, so that's way cool. But I just didn't get it at first, and now I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome because, like I was saying, some people come on and they don't even really like horror movies, but some of them, even if they like horror movies, they won't watch their own stuff, or they'll watch it like once or twice. They'll go to premiere or whatever, so that you can love your own movie. That's fantastic.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's fantastic. It really is. I mean, I say I've maybe signed about 1,500 signatures, and this year has been fantastic, and last year was so, and then the first year I did only 2 cons, but about 3 or 4 people have told me that they've worn out the DVD, and I'm like, I'm not believing it. Like after the 3rd person, I kind of believe it. I'm like, it doesn't touch. There's no surface contact. And they're like, it wears out. I'm like, I don't think so. One guy, you have to. I'm like, well, how did you do it? How do you sit around and watch it? He's like, I just let it play all the time. I like the sound of it. So if I'm doing dishes or working on my house or whatever, it's just playing in the background. And if I walk past the television and get to see a scene, it's fantastic. But I just love the music and the scoring and the, all that stuff's going on. So I'm like, oh wow, that's great.
Now, kind of a sad.
You can wear out a DVD.
Something new today.
Yeah, I'd be very. I've worn out VHSs, but I've never worn out a DVD.
Yet. Exactly. Yeah, but the VHS is it's touching as it scrolls through the machine. It's dragging across the heads of it or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
And when you rewind it, there's all that like great pressure on there too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now,
So that's it, man.
I didn't want to bring up, it's a sad topic, but we recently lost Irwin Keyes, and I just want to know some of your memories of Irwin.
Irwin was awesome. We flew to actually Irwin is a character actor, and so like when I would get an audition for a prisoner or something like that, a truck driver or whatever, sometimes he would be there, and I got so happy. About 10 years ago, I booked a commercial for a prisoner, and he was at the callback, and I thought, damn, they're going to pick him, right? and I got it. I was so happy. I'm like, I think the dude that was on the Jeffersons and the Warriors. so we would chit chat, and he's a super cool gentleman, and I would see him at this one gym. It was Bally's back then. Now it's LA Fitness, and so if the gym was like near if the audition was near this one gym that he went to as well, I would pop in there and like cheat and do my biceps real quick, and then go into the audition pretending like I don't lift weights. But so I would see him at that gym sometimes, and so him and I kind of bond. On my first audition, we flew together to Atlanta for Days of the Dead, and so we sat next to each other and everything. I think it was Southwest, so we got a chance to sit next to each other. And I was like, man, this is my first show. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. And I was like, you think they'll like me? He's like, why wouldn't they? I'm like, well, I didn't do Devil's Rejects. He's like, don't say anything about that, and I'm sure they're going to love you. And I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, so I kind of thought I was in trouble because I didn't do Devil's Rejects with the horror fans, but he's like, no, you were in a great movie, House of a Thousand Corpses, and that's all that I did with Rob, and it's going to be just fine. I'm like, all right, cool. So, yeah, he was a super great guy. I sit next to him. I watch how he interacts with the fans. And so he was part of my learning process with this as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I think that's a big part of the conventions, not necessarily always name value, but it's having a presence at the show and being fun to be around. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I've learned, that being nice and everything, it seems like the fans appreciate that. I've read some bad press on some of the other actors that have done horror movies, and sometimes they're a little arrogant and cocky and a little bit too tough and abrasive, and they're not a part of the rotation anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you got to have appreciation for someone wanting your autograph, and it's weird that, Hollywood can do that to you. When you're shooting and you're shooting consecutively, sometimes you put yourself in a position where you might think you're a little bit better than someone else. I've seen that before, and with a couple of my colleagues. And then when they slow down, they're like, "Hey, brother," I'm like, "Man, you didn't speak to me 2 years ago. What do you say, brother? Now you must have to work." Well, what do you say that? I'm saying that because it's the truth. What's going on big time? Yeah.
It's like when you get out of high school and you do a little bit better, and then everybody wants to be your buddy.
Yeah, that happens too. I've had that happen to me as well, and that's a tough one when the individual doesn't want to speak to you because they're too cool, and then you do something cool, and they're like, "Man, I saw you in that commercial. That was awesome." Like, yeah, it was no big deal. I've done more research a little bit. Oh man, you're great. I'm like, well, why didn't you talk to me last year? Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Hollywood it's funny like that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I also want to mention, coming up this Halloween, you're going to be in the Legends of Horror edition of Malevolent magazine, and that's going to be pretty cool. You know what I mean?
That is fantastic. I'm so lucky to be a part of that. I thank goodness for like the horror conventions put me out there a little bit, and then Facebook exposing my growth in the business of the autograph stuff and everything. And I've done a couple other projects other than corpses. I've got a Tom Sizemore, which he won an Oscar, a horror movie coming up, Slumber Party Slaughters. So, and a couple other ones. Backwoods does well in Europe, and I think that's it. And independent film too. That's okay. So, looking forward to doing more of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, I saw your short film you were in too, Lamb Feed.
How would you think about that?
I thought it was a lot of fun.
It's entertaining, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just 30 minutes, and there's a lot compressed in the 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The scoring's cool, the editing's cool. Michael Rodriguez is working on his own budget. That's his second film. He's going to be doing another film with Home Wrecked with Van Bever, actually, is the star of it. And let's see, he did a Night of the Living Sea Monkey. He's fantastic. It's a great little, I think that's like 20, and Lynn Lowry's in that. That's like a 25, 30-minute film, and short. I think he's going to put 3 shorts together and distribute it as a DVD like that. But
Nice.
yeah, it's a super micro budget, like maybe $4,000 or so, and he's editing it himself and doing most of the work himself. And he's got he's got a really good camera guy, Jimmy. I forgot his last name. And those guys are fantastic, man. For a micro budget, he did a great job.
Yeah, I think he actually has them on the R-rated versions on Vimeo. Not Vimeo, but I assume it'll be like the unrated versions on when he puts them out. But that's kind of a thing that's become popular lately, your shorts.
Yeah, you got the Canon deep. Well, you can probably do it with a Nikon as well. But you got the digital cameras that are amazing. A couple grand on a camera, a couple $1,000 on a laptop, and you get the program, the software to edit it, and some computer knowledge, and there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Get together have a good story, get together a good crew and a cast, and you can make a movie, man, for $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because some people seem really resentful of that. There's some people we've spoken with that it's like they blow it off like anybody can make a movie, and they're really dismissive of it. But I personally think it's great because there's so many people out there that have cool ideas, fun ideas, intelligent ideas, and they just can't access the funding or whatever it is. So why not?
I agree with you. There's so many people in our country, and there's room for a lot of people to have success. And I think if you don't have a budget to do something big or the political connection or whatever, and you can do stuff on a lower level and get some, what do you call these, film festivals, et cetera, and get some attention and popularity going like that, I think it's fantastic. I don't throw away anyone's dreams. Everyone should try to do whatever they can do, and any avenue that you can take to do it. So if you can't afford to live in Los Angeles or New York and go to the auditions or do the big film school and get connected like that, then you do it. You live in Kansas or Arizona, and it seems like every community, every state has its own independent film vibe going on.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I mean, I'm a humble guy, I think it's fantastic. I'm really proud to be a part of Lamp-Feed, and I think Michael Rodriguez is awesome. He saves his money and he makes it happen. He puts his money where his mouth is. So it's great.
So speaking of making independent stuff, what do you think about crowdfunding?
I think it was because I've been a part of a couple of potential things that never got their budget. I think in the past it was probably easier to do, but it's been saturated, and so now I think it's more challenging for independent projects to get raise funds through crowdfunding.
Yeah, I noticed actually on some newer things, it's more, instead of to raise money for the whole project, it's to raise money to maybe they can do more special effects, or they could get some different merchandise out, not necessarily to fund the entire project.
Yeah. Well, however it's phrased, one thing is for sure, they're falling short, so they're asking for support. And it's become, unless you have a name, I think Rob Zombie did some crowdfunding with 31. He has more popularity, so it's probably going to have more success than Michael Rodriguez or whoever. Yeah,
definitely. Were you a fan of Rob Zombie's music before you did the movie?
No, I'm an inner city guy. And so the heavy metal stuff, I never got introduced to that until later in life, and then I never got to do the Rob Zombie thing. But when I booked the role, I did buy a couple of his back then. I think it was borderline between CDs and 8-tracks, or not 8-tracks, cassettes. I'm sorry, cassettes. I skipped the whole cassette thing. I think it could have been on cassette set, and I listened to a couple of his to CDs, and I thought the music was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what music does Robert Mukes actually listen to?
I listen to all types, man. I was, some people really put it down, but let's see. I graduated high school in '83, so it's like in '76 and so. When I was like 10 years old, you started wanting to dance around a little bit and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I still listen to it. I like disco.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes I work out the disco, and my friends tease me really bad about it. But I like soul. I like gangster rap. I like classic rock. I like Ted Nugent, Olivia Newton-John. I like all types of music. I like old school jazz, old 1940s jazz. I just love music. I love live music.
Yeah. I don't know. Next, if see at a convention and they have karaoke, I'm going to suggest you do some disco.
Nice, bro. Yeah. I don't really drink anymore. I mean, I'm really I'm really for the whole body thing to increase my popularity with the threatening look and everything like that. But maybe one shot will have me feeling loose. So.
Exactly, because your tolerance is going to drop.
Way drop. No, I have a spirit. I'm ready to pass out.
Yeah, I've noticed that myself. I've cut back heavily on drinking, and now when I actually have a drink, you enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah.
You're a cheaper
Good for you, man. Good for you. As we mature, we have to cut back on that and increase our vegetable intake, or you just won't look good anymore, and you won't last as long either. So congratulations.
Yeah, I know just from seeing you in person a few years ago and then seeing your Facebook, you really have done a great job in transforming yourself.
Thank you, brother. It's killing me that it's taken so long to get popular because I've never been so sober and in tune with the moment and myself. And it's like, I didn't put that wrong. What the heck? And I've never looked so mean. Jesus Christ. But I've got 2 daughters to raise, and it is so expensive. Oh, my God. The sports and even academic stuff. I had to buy the iPads when they were 4 years old. It's $350.
That's crazy.
$400, yeah. It just keeps going. It just doesn't stop. And so, yeah, it's a matter of, I wouldn't say life or death, but I definitely want my girls to live comfortably and to get educated really well. And so, yeah, I'm going for the gold, man. I almost train like I'm trying out for the Lakers or the Clippers or whoever. I exercise really hard. Yeah, I make myself sick sometimes exercising so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So your girls watch any of your acting work? Have they seen stuff? And
yes.
What do they think about it?
I've done some softer stuff. My youngest daughter, I had an episode of Weeds, and I fast-forwarded to my scene. I did 4 episodes of Weeds. It's a Showtime show. It was really funny. It's comedy. And my daughter was like 4 when it came out, and so I just got my flat screen and everything, which is adorable. It's a Samsung. It's still hanging in there. I kind of wanted to break so I can get a bigger one. It's only a 48-incher, and I want like a 65, and I won't buy another one until it breaks. But anyway, so I come on, and I got to sit in my lap, and I did the scene before my scene, and it comes on, and she looks at the TV, and she starts crying because I'm like, and so I had to like hug her a little bit. I'm right here. And, so anyway, I've had stuff since then. Like I've had some really popular commercials and everything, and they seem to be really proud about it. I had what was that? The Man with the Knicks had DirecTV commercial 2 years ago. It played for 4 months every day, all day long.
Wow.
The principal, some of her classmates, and the teacher, and everything. Was that you? That was a great commercial. Da 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 da. And so I glanced at my daughters out of the side of my eyes, and I see them smiling with pride. So. They like it. They're proud about it. They're doing really well as well. Winning it. My youngest daughter won the championship for her volleyball league, and my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter, was the lead of her play. So I've got the family pressure. It's my turn to do something because those 2 are just killing it.
So they're taking after you. You've got the athlete, and you've got the girl that's in
actress,
acting.
Yes.
Yeah, that's excellent. So that must be cool for you to see them taking up stuff that you're interested in. Each one's doing these different things.
Well, I inspire that too. I mean, I co-parent with their mother, and I have them quite often, and so I exercise them, and we read and study. And but my actress, she just kind of like they go to a performance arts school, and so she just kind of took that off on her own. I don't think that it had anything to do with me. It was just kind of like luck. But their mother was an actress as well, so we'll see what happens with that.
Well, was that commercial the one where you had the face tattoo?
Yeah, the man with the neck tattoo. Yeah, that sucker was popular, man.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good hit. I'm ready for another one of those.
Now, you mentioned doing weeds, and do you enjoy doing comedy, too?
You know, comedy was hard for me initially. My personality, and let's see, not my personality, my character is typically the same dude. Like, I'm this big, mean, badass dude, right? So within the comedy, the setup is like, you know, these guys are having a good time, and then somebody says something. He's like, all right, you keep messing with me, I'm going to call Bruno in. You know, then Bruno says to him, he's like, oh, my God, I'm sorry, man. I'll never give you a hard time again. So the challenging part of doing that is people start laughing. And even on the auditioning process, like, you know, some of my earlier sitcoms, I would perform and then they start laughing and I start feeling insecure. I'm like, what are you guys laughing about? I thought I was looking pretty mean. and then I would flip the role and I'm like, I told my agent, I was like, man, I'm so surprised they were laughing at me. He's like, they're supposed to. I'm like, really? And so auditioning for comedy sometimes is challenging because, and not anymore, but back when I first started, because, you know, you do something really tough and then the writer or whatever is in the room and they start cracking up and the person you're reading with starts acting intimidated or whatever it is. And, yeah, that would throw me off. The laughing used to throw me off, but I've got it now. So it's almost the same. I just enjoy working, you know, sound, ready, action. And I just love that sound. So from Michael Rodriguez's Lamb Feed, 1,000 Corpses, to the Man with the Neck Tattoo, or Persons of Interest, flying to New York first class and staying in the Trump Tower on the top floors and seeing the Times Squares and the Brooklyn Bridge. When they say action, it's almost the same feeling, man. You're pretending to be someone that you're not, and it just feels great. So I just love acting, whether it's comedy or horror or suspense. A little bit of drama and suspense. It's all the same. It's just awesome.
What got you into acting to begin with?
Being so tall. I played basketball out here in Los Angeles in the summer leagues. And so playing in the summer leagues, I started having friends that lived here. And like almost everybody in LA tries to be an actor, and that's no put down on it, but I mean, here you are right next to the dream. And so I was training for this team to go to Singapore, and this guy that played Brad Wright, he played in the NBA for a few years, and he played for UCLA, and he did pretty good. And he still goes to auditions, actually. And we became buddies and everything, and he's like, hey, man, you want to try out for a commercial? And so my answer to him was, I still remember this, man. I said, you know, that's for Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, man. What are you talking about? Trying for a commercial? You know, I can't play that good. I'm just playing in Europe. And he's like, no, man, that's an actor. I'm like, whatever. What are you talking about? And so like and I was dating an actress, a lady that was trying to be an actress as well. And so and so I told her the story. She's like, I'm telling you, you look like, when I was skinnier, you look like William Dafoe. You can do it. I'm like, yeah, nah, that's really, you know, and you look like Mickey Rourke or whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And so I was like, started looking at TV a little differently or whatever, because my thoughts on TV, like the document of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is kind of really happening. But I started, wow, yeah, okay, you know, but I was still playing basketball. So maybe a week later, I saw this dude on a Burger King commercial, and there was like a picnic scene, and they were playing basketball at a park or whatever, and he was eating a Burger King sandwich, Whopper or whatever. And so I saw Brad the next practice for that team that was going to go play in Singapore. I'm like, hey, Brad, man, you know, did you know who? I forgot the guy's name. He's in a Burger King. He's like, that's what I was talking about. I'm like, dang, I find myself more attractive than him, and I could definitely outplay him. He never did play in Europe or anything. I'm like, I should be doing this shit. And so, yeah, I started off with basketball commercials, and I had success right away with doing the basketball commercial thing, Nike and ESPN, and I had a Panasonic Beamer commercial. I did a commercial with Dennis Rodman, Spud Webb, and all those guys back in the day. So, yeah, so that's kind of what got me started with acting, was doing the commercials.
Mm-hmm. Now, I read that you trained, I don't know how far, like how far along you went into this, but you trained to be a wrestler at one period of time?
Correct, yeah. I went to a wrestling school for 6 months, and John Cena was there. He's the superstar,
nice.
One of the superstars now.
So this would have been out in California.
Guy,
yeah.
I threw this guy against the rope, and his bodybuilder guy didn't duck enough, and whatever, my thumb hit his head, and I got a cast, and then during that time when I had the cast on my hand, I booked a couple roles, and so after that, as soon as I came back from that, like my first practice, I compressed my spinal cord. This trainer had me doing these high fly acts, and I shouldn't have been doing that. And I compressed my spinal cord, and I started thinking, you know what, I'm doing pretty good booking roles for acting. I'm gonna fade out of this. I was too old. I was in my mid-30s, yeah, so I was already a little bit too old for that. Mm-hmm. But it's an awesome form of entertainment. The wrestlers do really well, and some of them transition into acting and do it outstanding. I mean, Dwayne Johnson, that's where he got his initial popularity from, and now he's killing it in the movie scene. He's a multimillionaire. So yeah, that was my dream at that point 15 years ago, 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any particular favorite wrestlers? Did you watch wrestling before you tried out for it?
I had Victor Bruiser when I was a kid in the Midwest from Indiana, and that's the only name I remember. No, I really wasn't that big of a fan. I was a basketball guy. I just thought, when I started lifting weights and everything, and towards the end of my basketball career, gaining weight, I'm like, you know what? I can jump around and pretend like I'm choking someone out or whatever, and do some wrestling. So that was the gist of it.
Yeah, Dick the Bruiser. He would have been tagging with the Crusher, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, who just passed away recently too is Roddy Piper, big time wrestler and a great actor.
Ultimate Warrior as well. Yeah, the wrestlers are great actors. I mean, you're acting. It's not real fighting, and it's all staged. So I think it would be easier to do an Ultimate Fighting thing because you're just trying to beat the dude's ass. But in wrestling, it's you got a play to go through. Okay, at first I'm going to do these few plays and take you over. Then you're going to reverse the ties with me, and you're going to come over here. We're going to do this, that, and the other, and then I'm going to take you down. And so you got to remember all the different plays and stuff. And in between the moves, you rile the audience up. That's totally acting. And so, it doesn't surprise me that, that some of the wrestlers do really well in acting. Yeah. And, you're used to performing in front of a crowd, et cetera. But, I had a chance. I met him on a few occasions, and he was so nice. Sometimes that people that have had a lot of success, when they meet someone that's kind of like hovering around the success zone, they're not so cool with them, and I'm not going to name drop, but they pretend to be a little bit better than you. Mm-hmm. And I sensed that quick, right away. And so I'm like, whatever, because I've worked with being a doorman at the most popular place in the world for a few years in Hollywood. If you act arrogant to me, I can definitely outdo you. And so he was super, super cool, man. Super classy, cool guy, just the moments that we had together. He seemed super genuine and friendly. So it's too bad that him. I think we lost the Ultimate Warrior this year as well, earlier in the year.
Yeah. And Dusty Rhodes.
Exactly. The name, it gets expensive. That jump around on your body and everything. It's really hard on you,
Yeah. Well, I also do a pro wrestling show, and the guys who've done both wrestling and MMA say the pro wrestling is actually worse on your body because in MMA it's a few minutes and then you fight again in like a couple months. But with wrestling, it's the constant wear and tear on your body, and it's
the training, man. You're slamming your body on the ground, and the mat gives a little bit, but the training is brutal. So yeah, it is. It's a tough thing. And once you're fighting someone, you kind of grab hold or whatever, and then you're twisting around. You're not really slamming down to the ground. to make that effect, that illusion of the person being so strong. You work together on it, but when you actually make contact with the ground, it's pretty painful. Put it lightly, yeah.
Have you had any injuries actually in acting?
No, I can't say that I have. I've been very fortunate. I not with basketball either. I'm built pretty durable. Yeah, no, not at all. So I haven't done any outstanding stunts. So I've never jumped off of a building or been set on fire or anything like that. So no, I'm healthy.
Yeah, not yet anyway.
Not yet anyway. I got my fingers crossed. I might jump out if it depends on the money, of course. But all right, jump out of this airplane. I'm like, I don't do that. Yeah, I'm nervous to fly. Or jump off a building, maybe one or two stories max. If there's this big padding thing underneath, and we'll do a test before we get to the top. Let halfway. But the other stuff I do well. I've gotten really good on my motorcycle and et cetera, high speeds and changing lanes fast and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like that. I can slide pretty good too. So I'm looking forward. Too bad that show was over. I never got an audition for it, Sons of Anarchy, but I'm ready for some motorcycle deal. That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You would have fit in perfectly on the show.
Oh yeah.
Say it again.
You would have fit in perfectly on Sons of Anarchy.
Not one audition, man. Not one audition. I think it was for 5 years. I've heard that so many times too, in the Hollywood community. Man, did you audition? Nope. Are you serious? I don't know, man. Yeah. But I've got a really good agent, and I've got another strategy going too, as far as reaching out to the shows and stuff that I think that I should be in. So. I'm becoming more and more business-like with the whole profession of show business, and the cons are part of it. I'm trying to build up my popularity with that. I've got a website and all the photos from the conventions. I put them on my Flickr account that's on my website. So I'm just trying to get popularity with that, and hopefully I can do some, more horror movies and just gain popularity with that, and just keep exercising and training and staying healthy, and just get more and more popular with the business of it all.
That's really excellent. I mean, it sounds like you've really taken on all of this stuff very seriously, just recently in terms of your entire career. All social networking and all this work you're talking about.
Good observation. I just kind of cruised my way through and luckily fell into stuff, the wrestling and the acting, etc. But now with the two girls, nothing like peer pressure, nothing like parenting pressure, financial pressures, and aging. Driving to my night hustle, which was very lucrative, and on the top scene of the Hollywood scene. Yawning driving to work, it just was not working for me. I'm just too tired to be. When the sun goes down, like it's 7 o'clock here, it's starting to go down a little bit. When it gets to, I'm almost embarrassed to say this. And if there's a night shoot, I'm definitely going to figure it out and make it happen. But when the sun goes down at 51, I get sleepy. I'm starting to do dinner dates and everything. That's the house for me. I'm yawning there. I'm like, I want to go to bed, but I wake up super early. I wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 sometimes, and start the oatmeal and clean it up a little bit, and then I go to the gym like that. So yeah, I'm just I'm getting up there. It's time to make it happen in the daytime.
You'd mentioned a few current projects that are either coming out or out there right now. Would you want to mention like where we can find those?
Everything, like all of my stuff, my appearances, etc. They're all on my website. It's all been condensed on my website. It's very simple and easy to navigate. RobertMukes.com, and that's where you can locate anything you need to know on me. So fingers crossed for my next audition. I had 2 last week. I'm a little surprised that I didn't get a call back this week, but it's not going to slow me down. Still keep trying hard, and I'm excited about my next opportunity.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'm looking forward to reading Malevolent Magazine when it comes out, Legends of Horror, for this Halloween edition.
That should be very interesting. Yeah, I'm so proud and excited to be a part of that. And let's see what the future entails. I've got 7 shows lined up for the rest of the year, so hopefully you and I will cross paths again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be?
There's 7 of them, and I don't know. Next weekend, not this weekend, not tomorrow, starting Friday, this weekend coming up, but the following weekend, I'm going to Ventura. There's a Comic-Con up there, C4 Comic-Con in Ventura. So I'm going to be there, and then next month, September, I've got Scarefest and a couple others. Like for the next 3 months, I've got 7 or 8 conventions.
So you got Rock and Shock coming up in Massachusetts.
That's awesome. Yep, that's a big show. It's got a lot of tradition. Super excited about that. I got a chance to do Monster Mania earlier in the spring. That was fantastic. The East Coast fans are awesome. I didn't think that it would be as popular as it is South. Scarefest was phenomenal. My first year, 3 years ago, and I've had some fan requests, but it seems to be a little bit of a delay with Atlanta, Days of the Dead. So, I'm excited about the convention scenes, and it's fantastic. Man.
Yeah.
Just really inspired me to exercise and give the fans more. I'm telling you, it's as simple as that. Going to my first con at Days of the Dead Atlanta and seeing the fan excitement and other guys outdoing me, of course. I'm like, it took me back to my youth of playing sports. I'm like, I got to catch up with that dude. So I've got a lot of work to do. Yeah, I've got a lot of people to catch up with, but here I come.
I see you're going to be in Germany.
I'm going to be in Germany. That's a long flight for a convention, but it's my time going overseas for a show. That's awesome. I've never done. I've acted overseas before. And I get to see my buddy next week too. Big Tiny wasn't Debo. Friday, we did Black Mass 2 in Thailand, and I haven't seen him since then. That was like 12 years ago. So I'm excited to see that he's on the list there, and I get to see Tiny Lister in Ventura next week. And another good thing about the cons, like Bill Mosley and I are cool, etc. Sid, you get to see your colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
Living in LA, I mean, we all kind of live here. The people that are still active with it, but we have our separate lives. Bill has a couple of daughters, I believe, but they're adults now. But he's still involved with them, and he's always shooting stuff. I've got my daughters, so I've lost a lot of friends. And with my second daughter, man, I'm just really slammed with taking care of my girls and everything. So I don't get to see any of my colleagues that I used to in the past. So that's another element that's awesome about the conventions, that we get to see each other again, and that's fantastic. I haven't seen Tiny Lister in like 13 years, and we had a good time in Thailand. We were there for like 2 weeks together, so that's going to be great.
Awesome. Yeah, have you ever been to Germany?
I played a season in Germany, in Bromshire, this small community. I think it was south of Frankfurt. 22 years ago, I was there, and but it was a Division II team that went up to Division I for their first year, and we didn't do so well. So it's not like I'm coming back to town for something great. I mean, I made decent coin over there and everything. I had a pretty good time, but the season before that, I played in Brazil, and there was the passion of the fans. There was no comparison. In Brazil, if I blocked a shot or if I got an opportunity to slam dunk the ball, the fans would go nuts. But in Germany, like, you get a slam or a block and you get like 2 or 3 claps, and that was it. So, so I don't think that any of the fans from Bromshire, that basketball team that I was on, are recognizing that I'm coming back to the country. But, I'm excited to go overseas and see what that's like. And there's a whole big market over there, too, for the convention scene as well. So that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have some listeners in Germany, one regular caller, and the conventions just kind of started there, and but they're really popular because they have a lot of big horror movie fans in Germany.
Perfect. I've got a Backwoods playing over there. I played the character Josiah. Hillary Duff's in the movie, and I get a lot of residuals, and they're pretty good size from a movie I did 8 years ago, so it must play quite a bit over there. Yeah, Backwoods. So I've got a couple photos on my table from that. Hopefully, I get some fans from that film to come get an autograph. That would be fantastic.
That's when you get the big cut on your lip.
Pardon me?
That's the one where you have the big, like, hair lip, big cut on your lip.
Yeah, exactly. It was like 6 hours or 4 hours.
Oh,
initially, wow. I mean, as time goes, as you work with the makeup guy, it was a guy on this particular job. You get quicker, it happens faster, but that was like a 6-hour job the first few times. And we cut it down to 4. Yeah, that's a lot of time in a chair. And then, it's a tough one, but that totally looks real, man. He did a fantastic job on that. And the same guy worked on Bone Tomahawk too. It was so nice to see him again 8 years later. So he's still in the business. Mm-hmm. And that was a great makeup job on that show.
Yeah.
What is the toughest thing you've had to do for any given role?
I was a football player. In Thousand Corpses, I was challenged a little bit too. And when it's hot, it's tough too. I did a movie in the desert one time wearing a black suit, and that was really tough. And although we stayed hydrated and I was in the shade as much as I could, but we shot for like a week between, and we were on the road. We had a couple scenes between L.A. and Vegas, and then we had some scenes at a casino in Vegas. But it seems like I had like a little bit of heat exhaustion going on after that shoot. But the cold, man. I did a football commercial, and I had to dive in the mud after this football for this close-up for this Panasonic commercial, and that was a tough one. It was L.A. It was like, there's no comparison to like when it's really cold. But we're wearing football jerseys, and it was before Under Armour and all that. Man, I should have had a wetsuit on, but it was like 45, 42 degrees outside, and we're diving in the mud and water for a football. And I did about 5 or 6 takes of that. That was rough, And Thousand Corpses, when we walk the bunnies down the hill and we throw them one into the grave, and then a bunny takes off running, and then my sister Baby takes off after her. It was cold that night, and then I didn't have any Under Armour on. Like today, I would, but I was wearing polyester shorts, the sheriff's outfit, and then that shirt was cotton, but it was thin, and I didn't have an undershirt on. And it had that blood stuff on it, so that's like really hard, and it doesn't hold any heat. And it was about 45 degrees outside. That was a tough night too. I was starting to feel a little challenged and shaking and stuff. And but that's been about it. That's been the two. Just the weather, the elements of the weather has been the most challenging part for my career at this point.
Yeah, it must mess with your concentration, though, because your natural instinct for anybody is if you're in an environment you're uncomfortable with, you do something about it, and you can't.
Exactly, but you're working, so you're happy to be working. I mean, and actors, we only get, for the most of us, only get an opportunity to work on rare occasions, and so you kind of get, okay, this is work, this is how it is, or whatever. So you get past that. But it's tough. You just freezing, But it's part of being an adult and working hard for what you need. So it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Baby. Do you think Sherry had it easier or harder on set being Rob's wife?
I think she was cool. I don't know. I can't answer that question for her. She did a great job. I think that was one of her first roles, and she did a fantastic job. I think she danced for at Rob's concerts before that movie. So performing in front of an audience, it almost kind of preps you for acting a little bit. And then I'm sure she had some training and practice and everything before she got to the set. So I don't know. I can't answer that question, but she seemed really comfortable and she did a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really iconic role.
Yeah. If she signs autographs, I think she would rock star it out as well.
Yeah,
definitely. She'd destroy.
She would destroy. She's done it before. I'm sure eventually she just may too. So we'll see what time has, but she just may come around to doing it because the movie just keeps getting more and more popular. So we'll see what happens.
We had her on the show. I think I'm not sure, but I think it's one of the only podcasts she's ever done. So.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank I think
she was a real cool lady.
She was. She was very nice.
That's why she's never done one since, because she came on here and was like, screw this.
I already did those. I didn't like it.
I think it was she did this and then she said, it's never going to get any better. Right. So, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all on the spin you put on it.
Yep.
Exactly.
But I think her and Rob did a convention once, and I think they didn't have a good experience, so they didn't do anymore. But again, it all depends on which one you do.
Yeah, right. That's true. it seems like they could make their own convention. I mean, he's super popular with being a rock star, and just those two showing up anywhere, it seems like it would be really packed. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kirk Hammett from Metallica has got his own thing going on, and even the actors and people in film just are just astounded by how awesome that is, because I guess he's such a big collector. He just, it's almost like part museum too. So I would say definitely they could do something like that.
Yeah, it's just becoming more and more popular. I mean, back when I was younger, the baseball cards were popular to sign, and people would trade those, and they would sell. You could get a baseball superstar's autograph, and the value of the signature would go up, or signing the balls as well. But now the whole headshot thing, it's people are attracted to getting the 8x10s. You sign it. Some people frame it and put it on the wall and everything, and I think that's just awesome. I'm glad to be a part of that.
Yeah. Do you have any particular story at a convention that, like, with a fan that touched you?
That's a good question. I have to think about that for a second. It really didn't touch me. It surprised me. Back to the DVD story. I just can't imagine a DVD wearing out, and four people told me that. So that was kind of unbelievable. But it's just my first convention that touched me. That so many people were digging me, and I think I sold maybe 150 8x10s. So I was just so flattered that and to be honest, I mean, I just walked around. I had a couple lines in the movie, but I just walked around looking mean in the film. And you were so great. You were awesome. I'm like, okay. And it's fantastic. So yeah, it's all quite moving that people are impressed with what you do and they want your autograph.
Yeah. Did you get to keep any of the stuff you wore? Any of the wardrobe?
Yeah, no, we didn't. I didn't think about that. I didn't know about this business, and no, I mean, I got lucky enough to, and I've told the story a few times. I've got phenomenal pictures on my table. I've got pictures from the still photographer of Universal Studios. We shot it on their lot. So here's how it happened. I was doing a scene, and I heard a camera click behind me. I think I was actually in the tow truck. And we were going to drive to the liquor store, and I looked to the left. I hear this click, and the still photographer is there. And I'm like, I may have said damn or whatever, but not really to him, just to like kind of get refocused. I mean, I wasn't being disrespectful, and he apologized profusely. And then we did the scene, and I got finished, and he comes up to me and apologizes again. I'm like, man, no big deal, bro. I'm fine. And I started looking around at the scene, and I'm seeing these crosses and, red hot pussy liquor and all that stuff. And so, I was like, man, you think you could toss me a couple of pictures? He's like, if you don't tell anyone, it's 15 years later, I'm running my mouth about it. But I tell anyone what? He's like, that's what I want to hear. And then so the next time I came to the set, he gave me an envelope, and I went to my trailer and cracked it open, and man, he gave me like 10 pictures. I am like, whoa. So, so I put it in a folder and everything, and I would go to one of my auditions. I would show my big friends and stuff, the guys I auditioned with or against now. I was auditioning with them, but now it's competitive. I need to book every role. I'm going against them. But I would show my buddies, man, look at this shit, man. This movie was crazy. And so they were like, wow, man, is that blood? I'm like, yeah. They're like, this shit's great. And so, because it's mostly athletes and like, I was still doing basketball auditions back then. And some of the guys are my friends from playing basketball in the leagues, et cetera. So I had it in the folder, and for like a few years, it was just in the back of my town car, which is a nice trunk, but it was in the back of my town car. And then it made its way to the storage in my garage. And so for the first con, Days of the Dead, Phil puts that together, and he's a manager as well. He reached out to me to do that show. I'm like, Bill, we were talking and communicating about it and negotiating, et cetera. I'm like, I've got some really cool photos. He's like, don't worry about it, man. And I'm like, okay. So I get to the con, and he gives me these shots from where he got it off of the DVD. You can freeze pause the DVD and take the vision off, take the image off. And I'm like, these are not what I'm at, a way higher level than this. And then he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. So the next con he saw me at, he's like, man, where did you get these? I'm like, I told you, dude. And so I've got some really, really, really nice photos, but that's it. That's all the. I didn't get to keep anything, and it's been sold too. I signed the bag that I had on when I shot the tire out of the car. I had this whole Daniel Boone thing going on, and I saw on the internet where somebody had the bear helmet too, the bear hat thing. But no, I don't have anything other than, luckily, fortunately enough, I have those photos.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool though.
Yeah, it's very cool, man. I mean, it's what people want.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're the only person that has those particular photos out there, right?
Well, now that I've had them copied and I've sold them, you can reproduce it. But yeah, no, they're very candid. Some of them are candid shots and very, the photographer. Hey, everybody get together. So Rob Zombie's doing the bullhorn thing, and the whole cast is there, and yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's candid. It's something different than anyone could if they wanted to take the time and get a still off a video, but no one's going to have these pictures. They're much more personal.
Going to have these pictures there. When people come to my table, I've got the big banner behind me, and then and I just walk through the show, and people are like, "Who in the hell? What is that? Is that Kevin Nash?" Some people think I look like him or whatever. Oh, 1,000 Corpses, right? Yeah, he was cool in that. And then when they get to the table, they're like, "Man, they don't know what picture to pick." I've got some, and then I've had repeats. A guy come the next day, man, my cousin wants to shot dude, and then people take pictures off of the table and send it to their friends, and then okay, I'm gonna get this one for Cindy, and then sign that one for Steve. I'm like, all right, cool. So yeah, I've got some really, really cool shots.
That's awesome.
Yeah, bro, super, super, super lucky on that.
Mm-hmm. So let everybody know, Robert Mukes is the website. That's really easy to find, and you can find all Robert's appearances, and if he's got new stuff coming up. You can also, what's your Twitter? At Robert Mukes?
Yeah, I'm not active with that. A friend of mine started that because of a channel I needed for my what website is that where you put videos on YouTube?
Yeah.
I think you had to have a Twitter account attached to that. So I'm not active on Twitter. Sometimes people put stuff on there, or whatever. I'm not involved with that. So I'm mostly Facebook, and I do the Instagram.
Yeah.
And then I've got the website. So, yeah, that's me, man. I'm so glad to be a part of your show. I'm so glad you guys invited me on.
Yeah, it was great having you here.
There are a couple questions. I don't know if you saw these from the audience. One of them is from Amber Vines. What is your favorite horror flick of all time?
I have to say, because I thought it was a true story, and it affects me the most. I was not going to ever go to Texas. And that's the original, of course, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I just recently, about a month ago, I checked out my man, Bill Moseley, in Texas Chainsaw 2, and his performance was incredible. I was so impressed. I didn't really like the movie so much, but his performance, every moment, he was just like a crackhead out of control. He was just shaking and moving all weird and shit, and Bill was awesome. I'm so impressed with his performance on that. And sometimes he refers to that movie and, being his favorite character. I'm like, oh, whatever, let me check this out. And I was just blown away. He did incredible on that. But,
it's a little different from the first one, huh?
It's way different. The first one was like a true story. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's so dark.
I like the Halloween movie. That's up in the top 5. The Omen movie. I think they did a couple of them. You guys remember that? Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, the original. It's great.
Yeah, the original was awesome. Poltergeist, the original Friday the 13th. Those are just my top 5. It's just the mainstream stuff. I mean, I've got friends that like The Blob, and The Fog was awesome. Cape Fear, I don't really know if that's considered. So he didn't really chop them up. The first one from the 50s.
Yeah, but it's still a psychological horror, So I count that. Around these parts, we count that.
Yeah, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Nice.
That was good. Friday, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That movie's awesome. I've seen it maybe 10 times, and I can watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then AJ Punk wanted to know who your favorite basketball player is.
I didn't jump that high as a basketball player, so I really appreciate what Larry Bird used to do on the court.
Very nice.
Not being an athlete, but was just so amazing with the ball. But currently, I think LeBron James is the best. I live in L.A., and so I was kind of a Kobe fan for a while, but him and Shaq, I just kind of faded away from Kobe. Then he came back, and he's just so amazing. Kobe was awesome. Michael Jordan, that was kind of like during my era when I was trying to play, was just fantastic. But now I'm a Clipper fan. I like Blake Griffin and the center Jordan and Chris Paul. I still like basketball, and I will check it out when it's on or whatever, and I've got a little bit of time to watch it. So, yeah, Larry Bird.
All right. Well, you're talking to Boston people here, so we're with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they just could not stop him, man. He didn't jump at all, but he was just so tricky. And his shot was beautiful. He wasn't fast. He didn't jump high, but he just had total ball control and vision of the court. Yeah, he was amazing. And Paul Pierce, he's out here with the Clippers now. He was a warrior, too. What did Shaq call him? The truth. So, yeah, Paul Pierce is pretty awesome, too, for Boston. Boston, that's a lot of history there, man.
See, I figured you'd go with, like, with the centers. I was figuring, like, Russell or Kareem or somebody.
Yeah, no, I as a fan, I like the Shaq was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But the guys that did the tricks with the balls were more impressive to me, like Magic Johnson and everything. It was just so amazing what they could do with the ball. I played in a summer basketball league, and I had a chance to play against Magic, and I was like, all right, whatever. So there's this fast break situation. I gravitated towards him to maybe see what I could do. And I didn't have a chance. He was so crafty with the ball. I was so embarrassed, but I was like, whatever, it's him. So yeah, I thought he was going to pass the ball one way. He did one of those tricks. And then he threw it between his legs and then went the other way, and I turned my head, and it was right for a layup. And I was like, how did he see that guy? And how did that happen, man? So, yeah.
John Reddy also, he wanted to know, you brought up Weeds earlier, but do you have any stories on the set of Weeds?
Weeds? Not really. I can't think of anything special. It was just like a job. Those guys were very talented. And the guy that played Andy, I'm sorry that I don't know his name, but I had a little bit of dialogue going with him, and his facial expressions made it tough for me because I wanted to laugh at this. Like I'm being tough on him. I grab him in this convenience store, and I give him the rundown of that I'm not taking any of this shit, and I'm tired of you being rude and everything. Then I headbutt him and I walk out. But I've got a couple paragraphs of dialogue. And in the middle of the dialogue, he's making these expressions like he's all confused and worried and everything. And I just wanted to laugh so hard. So I remember that. And it was we shot in the summertime in the valley. It was very hot out there. And but it was all good. It's just amazing from like I said, from lamb feet to corpses to bone tomahawk just recently. It was a decent budget. It's just awesome to work. I mean, every job has an amazing time, and that's when they say action. It feels so good to hear that.
Excellent. All right, well, we want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next con.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to meet you guys, and I'm looking forward to coming back too when I get another project going on. Let's do it again.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was fantastic. I'd say you're one of the most awesome guests. You're very, very pleasant and nice and positive and funny and wicked cool having you on.
I am extremely flattered. I'm glad you guys weren't bored with me. And,
Not at all.
I can't wait to do something else for you guys.
Awesome.
Sweet, that's great.
Look forward to it. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Definitely.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
You too.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, this is Bill Mosley. I play Otis in House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and Chop Top and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com. Don't touch that dial or I will lick your plate. Oh, no.